This scene in particular really stood out to me. It shows a lot about Kana's mental state and kind of how she views the world and how she views herself. Because if you look very closely, this is very off. And what I mean by that is the colors. The tone and mood and the color palette is very toned down. It's muted. And what really kind of shows this is as this scene progresses, you see Kana by herself, she looks at her feet, and she hears the voice of Aqua. The very world becomes vibrant. And this just says so much about Kana's mental state. And I really love the show don't tell on display here. It goes a long way. And I feel like this scene in particular is very subtle, and it's definitely going to be one of those scenes people are not going to probably think too hard about, or it's just going to fly over people's head because there's just so much else going on throughout this episode. And obviously Akane has really taken up quite a huge spotlight within the story thanks to the recent episodes. So when you see this moment with Kana, it legitimately is an emotional scene because it just says so much about how she feels about herself and her life right now, her job, etc. Just everything is very dull and lifeless, and the only thing that really brings her happiness in this moment is Aqua. And I think that what makes this scene even sadder is that after this little game of catch between the two, we get to see that, Aqua, in his own way, he admits that he is using Arima Kana for his own reasons, his tools, so to speak, to be able to achieve his goals, and he doesn't really have any romantic feelings for her. Just everything about this scene is legitimately sad, and it shows a lot of different levels of manipulation that Aqua is doing towards these characters. Even if he necessarily doesn't, mean it, he is manipulating these characters in their own way, and, even if he's helping them indirectly, he is harming them in the grand scheme of things because he is leading them on, so to speak. Because obviously, when you see this scene, Kana obviously feels like she might have a chance. Like, oh, I can be with Aqua. I'm older, he likes older girls, everything about this, she's getting this moment to see the real him without having to lie, etc. At least that's her opinion on it. It's just everything about the scene is like she feels like she's special. She feels like she's being treated differently than anyone else, and she feels very happy. But we know the truth. We know that Aqua doesn't have any, romantic feelings for Kana, which makes this very scene very sad, especially because we see the contrast. For instance, before all this begins, we see the muted colors and how sad she is, but obviously everything that she's currently living right now is technically a lie, which I think is also very sad, because the big thing that, Oshinoko has been trying to say through its characters in many different ways is that everybody has this facade. They put on a mask, they lie to themselves, they lie to others, and they try to play this character. And obviously, Kana right now, she's living this lie that, Aqua has his eyes on her, he's, taking care of her, or, she might have a chance with him, and just all this entire moment is just, like I said, it's emotional and sad, and it goes a long way to really just demonstrate what's going on in the characters' minds without directly saying it. I just think that this shows the quality of writing and also the animation team to be able to even do this, to be able to even demonstrate, this level of detail and quality with the characters without, like I said, dialogue. Now, besides this, there is something that does need to be mentioned, is that how Aqua treats the others. He's treating everyone like tools, etc. And we get to see clearly at the end here with, what's going on with, Aqua and what he's setting up for the next, scheme and all that. And, what he did technically with, Akane. It's very clear that, he's using them to, achieve a goal. And it's very sad because, we see a very emotional moment here where, he kisses her. He kisses Akane, Aqua does. And in this moment, when we see scenes like this, like in any anime, you're jumping for joy and you're like, yo, he's kissing the girl. This is something you would see at the last episode, stuff like that. And you would get emotional, you would get happy, and you'd be like, you know what, even if my favorite character lost, I'm happy that Aqua got with someone. It just shows that he has commitment. But this very moment, he basically says within his own mind that he's just using her. And it's just like, bro, that's really messed up, because from Akane's perspective, everything about this scene, she legitimately loves Aqua. She legit likes him. Like, she really wants to be with him. She really wants to, go out with him. And, like, even the whole bar scene and all that, it proves that she does want more than just a work relationship, so to speak. And so everything about this sequence of events that led to it, it's sad because, Aqua isn't really trying to return those romantic feelings to her. He's just using her. And she's once again another person that's living this lie and all that, or trying to live a lie. And it's obviously eventually probably going to not work. And that's kind of what happened with Kana in this episode, but also what's happening with Akane. Very interesting, different perspectives. Now, one thing I do want to point out as well is that we also get to see, things behind the scenes with, Mimjo. And Mimjo, I love her. I absolutely love this scene. And this scene in particular had no business being as good as it was. Because, like, I'm just going to keep it real with you. Like, 100%. When Aqua is like, hey, you want to join the new B Komachi? And then, like, she turns around and, like, this whole scene, it's beautiful. A very breathtaking and beautiful scene. And the ending song starts to play. It's a legitimately emotional moment. And she gets happy. And what makes this scene also very powerful is, once again, more of the show don't tell moment. There was a little bit of tell, but not completely. Basically, it's implied that, Mimjo, she says that she wanted to be an idol, but obviously stuff happened. But it's clear that she was someone that had dreams, had goals, and she wasn't able to achieve it. And this is something that I think fundamentally a lot of people can relate with. Like, everybody strives to achieve something, I think, even if it's minor, even if it is to get up and go to the store and get ramen noodles or something. Everybody has objectives or goals throughout the day, to long-term objectives, and obviously a dream or a goal of being an idol would be huge, or being like, let's say, a game creator or whatever, stuff like that. And if stuff doesn't work out right and your dream fails, it hurts. It legitimately hurts. And so when someone comes to you and is like, hey, why don't you have a shot at this? Why don't you become an idol? Your dream that you thought was impossible, that you would never be able to do, automatically seems to become reality in that moment, and it's like a dream rekindling from the ashes itself, reborn like a phoenix, so to speak. It's legitimately beautiful and emotional, sad and happy, all in the same time, a huge mix of emotions, and everything from this scene with Minsho and how she reacts to just this information is legitimately beautiful, because she legit is in shock. She's like, wait, really? She can't believe that it's actually happening, and then she thinks and processes it. Like, you can see her facial expression. She's processing, like, wait a minute, I legit can actually become an idol. I have a chance, even if it doesn't fully work out. I am much closer than where I was to begin with, and that's just, like I said, it's an amazing moment. And this entire ending song being applied to this scene really just nailed the emotional tone of it. I love this. I really do love what the animators and everyone that is working on the show is doing with individual scenes. And that is another good thing I want to point out, is that we had our three kind of female characters focused in this episode, like Mimsho, Kana, and Akane. And I like how we had different ways of how Aqua handled all three. For instance, how we have the situation, actually four, even Ruby as well. We get to see how he handles Ruby. He's like, why would I allow her to ditch school and all that? I wouldn't be a good elder brother. It shows that he's watching over Ruby. So we get to see how he kind of deals with four different characters, like how he treats Connie, tries to be, more open about things, but at the end of the day, he's still using her to his own will, like however he wants. While, Akane, he puts on this mask, and it's clear that he might be lying to himself as well, because he might have romantic feelings for her, because obviously he has an attachment to Ai. And then we get to see how, Mimsho, how she gets this moment to really actually be happy and all that. So it's fascinating. I love how Aqua interacts with the cast. You get to see just how he has many different faces or masks of how he handles people, and it's clear that he does care about others. Like, he legit does. But he has this manipulative tone about him to achieve his long-term goal. So yeah, I really think that this episode does a good job with just really diving a little bit more into Aqua's character and what he wants, and then also realizing that he didn't know Ai as well as he thought he did for someone like Akane to just come out and just replicate her to such a high degree and just get her personality down right. And when she starts mentioning, like, oh, she might have had, like, a child, his shock really just says a lot. It's like, holy crap, to be able to kind of discover this and the personality and all that, instantly he realized that Akane really was a great method actor and a researcher to dive into a person person and play that role, he knew instantly. He was just shocked. And so when you think about this revelation that Aqua went through as well, we could assume that the reason why he wants to use Akane is because if she's so good at method acting and researching and getting into character, that he might want to use her very research and personality to find out who may have been the one that killed Ai. For instance, you know, his father, so to speak. So there is a lot that happened within this episode. So much plot, so much progression with the characters. It's legitimately good. And it sucks that we had to wait 2 weeks for this, but better late than never, so to speak. I'm glad the wait was worth it and legitimately was a great episode. So I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments below. How do you feel about this episode? Also let me know in the comments below. With that, be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.